Captain Diana Blackwood stood at the command center of the EDS Valiant, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing Neptune's azure sphere. The massive defense platform that had been humanity's pride for decades now felt painfully inadequate. Behind her, Admiral Jensen's weathered face appeared on the main screen, his expression grave. Captain, long-range sensors have detected something beyond Pluto's orbit, something big. The Admiral's voice carried the weight of decades of military service. We're looking at over 3,000 objects moving in formation. Diana's fingers tightened on the console. Humanity had achieved remarkable progress in the past 50 years colonizing Mars, establishing bases on Europa, and building the most sophisticated defense network in solar system history. But nothing had prepared them for this. "Show me the analysis," she commanded, and her XO, Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, quickly brought up the sensor data. The objects were massive, each larger than any ship humanity had ever constructed. They moved with an unnatural precision that sent chills down Diana's spine. "We're detecting no conventional propulsion signatures," Raj reported, his usually steady voice wavering slightly. "Whatever they're using, it's beyond our current understanding of physics." Diana had fought pirates in the Belt, dealt with separatist threats on Mars, and even survived a catastrophic reactor failure on Jupiter Station. But this was different. This was first contact, and it was happening with a force that could probably wipe out humanity's defenses in hours. "Send the first contact package," she ordered, following protocol despite her instincts screaming that these visitors hadn't come for peaceful dialogue. The package contained humanity's scientific achievements, cultural information, and peaceful intentions, broadcast on all known frequencies. The response came 3 hours later, not in words or data packets, but in action. The nearest research outpost on Pluto's moon, Charon, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, housing 32 of humanity's brightest minds. The next it was gone, along with a spherical chunk of the moon's surface. "Energy spike," Raj shouted. "They're accelerating toward Neptune." Diana's training kicked in. "Sound General Quarters, get me a channel to Earth Command. Launch our entire complement of drones. I want eyes on these things." The next few hours were chaos. The alien vessels, which they started calling the Wraith Armada due to their ghost-like ability to phase through matter, ignored all attempts at communication. They moved through the outer system's defenses like they weren't even there. Earth Command's response was immediate but futile. The combined fleets of Earth, Mars, and the Belt launched everything they had. Railguns, plasma torpedoes, even experimental quantum warheads, nothing seemed to affect the Wraith ships. "Captain," Raj called out, his voice now steady with the calm of accepted fate. "Analysis of their trajectory suggests they'll reach Earth in approximately 72 hours. Diana watched as another defense platform vanished, along with a chunk of Neptune's atmosphere. The Wraith ships weren't just destroying humanity's defenses, they were harvesting, taking pieces of planets, moons, and stations, along with their crews and inhabitants. "Get me Dr. Vikram Patel at the Himalayan Research Facility," Diana ordered, remembering a conversation from months ago about theoretical physics that had seemed absurd at the time. "And prepare to fall back to Saturn's orbit. We need to buy Earth time, even if it's just hours." As the Valiant's engines powered up for retreat, Diana looked at her crew. Humans from every corner of Earth, working together, refusing to give up even in the face of impossible odds. They had 72 hours to find a solution, to discover some weakness in these seemingly invincible invaders. "They think humanity is finished," she addressed her crew, her voice carrying through the ship's comm system. "But they don't know us. They don't know what humans are capable of when pushed to the edge. Today, we're not just fighting for our lives or our planet. We're fighting for every human achievement, every dream, every possibility of what we could become." The Valiant turned, its engines flaring blue against the darkness of space. Behind them, Neptune's clouds roiled with unnatural disturbances as the Wraith Armada continued its harvest. But Diana had seen something in the sensor data, a pattern in the way the enemy ships moved. Something that might give humanity a chance, if only they could figure out how to exploit it. Send all our sensor data to Dr. Patel, she ordered, and get me every physicist, engineer, and theorist still alive in the outer system. We're going to need everyone's help to solve this puzzle. The battle for humanity's survival had begun, and Diana Blackwood intended to make sure it wouldn't be their last. Dr. Vikram Patel's fingers flew across the holographic interface as he reviewed the sensor data from the Valiant. The Himalayan research facility, buried deep within the mountains, hummed with desperate energy as scientists worked around the clock. Through the reinforced windows, dawn painted the snow-capped peaks in shades of gold, perhaps one of the last peaceful sunrises Earth would ever see. The phase variance in their hull structure, he muttered, enhancing a particular section of the data. Priya, are you seeing this? Dr. Priya Kapoor, his longtime research partner, leaned in closer. Her expertise in quantum mechanics had been crucial to their breakthrough 3 months ago, even though at the time they hadn't known what they were really preparing for. The oscillation pattern, she said, eyes widening. It's similar to our quantum resonance experiments, but they're operating on a scale we didn't think was possible. Their lab, originally designed to research clean energy through quantum field manipulation, had stumbled upon something revolutionary. They had discovered a way to create controlled quantum fields that could alter the fundamental properties of matter. The military had immediately classified their research, but even they hadn't fully grasped its potential. Director Chen, Vikram called out as the facility's leader entered the lab. I think we've found something. Director Michelle Chen, former quantum physicist turned administrator, moved quickly to their station. The usual bureaucratic formality had vanished in the face of humanity's crisis. Show me. Vikram pulled up a simulation. The Wraith ships aren't just passing through matter, they're shifting their quantum state to do it. But look at the energy signature during the transition. The simulation showed a clear pattern of quantum fluctuations, a moment of vulnerability in what otherwise seemed like an impenetrable defense. Priya stepped in to explain further. Their technology is more advanced, but it's based on the same principles we've been studying. They're creating quantum fields that allow them to harvest matter by temporarily shifting it out of phase with normal space-time. Can we stop it? Michelle asked, cutting to the heart of the matter. Vikram shared a look with Priya. Maybe, but we'll need every quantum physicist and engineer we can get, and we'll need to scale up our prototype by factors of thousands. The next hours passed in a blur of calculations and simulations. Teams around the world joined virtually, contributing ideas and solutions. The Wraith Armada had passed Saturn's orbit, and humanity's combined fleet was taking devastating losses in their delaying action. Captain Blackwood's face appeared on their main screen, her ship now part of the defensive line at Jupiter. Dr. Patel, please tell me you have something. We just lost the Europa colonies. Vikram straightened, forcing down his exhaustion. Captain, we think we can create a quantum disruption field that could force their ships back into normal space, but we'll need to get close, really close, and we'll only have one shot at this. The prototype's ready, Priya announced from her station, but scaling it up will require materials we don't have time to manufacture. What if we don't scale up? Lieutenant Commander Raj's voice came through, his engineering background leading him to an insight. What if we use what we already have, the quantum field generators in our ship's engines? Vikram's mind raced with the possibilities. Yes, we could modify the existing quantum containment fields in your fusion drives. It wouldn't be as controlled as our prototype, but with enough ships working in sync. We could create a cascading quantum disruption, Priya finished, already running the calculations. Every ship would need to be precisely calibrated, but it could work. Director Chen was already moving. I'm authorizing emergency protocols. Every quantum physicist and engineer on Earth will be at your disposal. Captain Blackwood, can your fleet hold them off long enough? Diana's face showed grim determination. We'll buy you every second we can, but understand, if this fails, Earth will have no defensive fleet left. 60 hours, Vikram promised, though his heart raced at the enormity of what they were attempting. We need 60 hours to modify the fleet's engines and run enough simulations to ensure we don't tear a hole in space-time. As the transmission ended, Priya touched his arm. Vikram, even if this works, the energy backlash, the ship's initiating the disruption field. He nodded, understanding the implication. The ships closest to the Wraith Armada would likely be destroyed by their own weapon. They were asking soldiers to sacrifice themselves on the mere possibility their plan would work. Send out the modification specifications to every shipyard and engineering bay in the system, he ordered, pushing aside his doubts. And get me direct links to every ship's engineering department. We need to start the modifications now. The race against time had begun, with humanity's survival hanging on the success of a desperate gamble. As Vikram looked at the dedicated faces around him, he saw not fear, but determination. If humanity was going down, they would go down fighting, armed with the very thing that had always saved them, their ingenuity. The warning klaxons aboard the Valiant blared as reality itself seemed to tear open at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. Captain Diana Blackwood gripped her command chair, expecting another Wraith attack. But the energy signature was different. Multiple ships emerging, Raj called out. Configuration unknown, not Wraith design. A fleet of crystalline vessels emerged from what looked like liquid space, their structures defying conventional engineering. They were beautiful, almost organic in their design, and they positioned themselves deliberately between the human fleet and the approaching Wraith Armada. "We're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Helena Torres announced, her hands dancing across her console. It's in English." A figure appeared on the main view screen, humanoid but clearly alien, with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "I am Navigator Kyrian of the Centauri Exodus Fleet. We've been following the Harvesters, what you call the Wraith, for 300 cycles. We came as quickly as we could." Diana stood, her military training warring with the awe of first contact with a genuinely peaceful alien species. "I'm Captain Diana Blackwood of the Earth Defense Ship Valiant. I'm afraid you've arrived in time to witness our last stand." Kyrian's expression shifted in a way that somehow conveyed both sorrow and hope. "Perhaps not. We've observed your attempts to combat them, your quantum field experiments. They're crude, but you're on the right path, a path it took our civilization centuries to discover." "Commander," another alien voice cut in, and a second figure appeared, more angular in appearance, with crystalline growths that seemed to serve as both armor and technology. "The Harvester fleet approaches. We must decide quickly." "This is Chief Engineer Zara," Kyrian introduced. "Our technical expert. Captain Blackwood, we propose an immediate exchange of knowledge. You have achieved in months what took us years to theorize. We have the practical experience of fighting the Harvesters across thousands of light years." In the Himalayan facility, Dr. Patel and his team watched the exchange with mounting excitement. "Captain," he cut in, "their ship design, it's based on quantum field manipulation at a structural level. That's how they managed to follow the Wraith through space." "Correct, Doctor," Zara acknowledged. "And we've observed your species' remarkable ability to innovate, to find solutions where others see only impossibility. Together, we might finally have a chance to stop the Harvesters permanently." Diana looked at her tactical display. The Wraith Armada was less than 40 hours from Earth. Their fleet was down to 30% strength. And now, salvation appeared from the most unexpected source, the stars themselves. "What do you need from us?" Diana asked. The next 12 hours transformed the solar system into an unprecedented collaboration of human and Centauri technology. Crystalline interfaces grew across human ship hulls, while Earth's quantum field generators were integrated into Centauri vessels. Engineers from both species worked side by side, learning each other's languages and technologies with desperate speed. In the Himalayan facility, Priya worked directly with Zara, their minds meeting across the gulf of species to refine the quantum disruption theory. "The resonance cascade you theorized," Zara explained, manipulating a holographic model. "It's similar to how we survived our first encounter with the Harvesters, but you've approached it from an entirely different angle." "If we combine our methods," Priya realized, We could create a disruption field orders of magnitude more powerful than either of us could achieve alone. But victory would not come without cost. As the modifications continued, Kyrian revealed the full truth of their exodus. The harvesters cannot be reasoned with or deterred. They consume worlds not just for resources, but to fuel their expansion across the galaxy. Our homeworld was their first victim in our sector of space. We are all that remains of our civilization. Diana absorbed this grim news in the Valiant's conference room, surrounded by holograms of Earth's military leadership and the Centauri command structure. "Then we make our stand here," she declared. "Earth will not fall. Humanity will not become another memory." "The modifications will be complete in 18 hours, Raj reported. "But Captain," the power requirements for the combined field generators. Even with Centauri technology, the ships at the center of the formation will be torn apart at the quantum level, Zara finished. "There is no way to shield against the backlash." Diana met Kyrian's galaxy-filled eyes. "How many ships do we need at the core of the formation?" "3," the navigator answered quietly. "3 ships to create the initial quantum resonance. Once established, the outer vessels can sustain and direct it." "The Valiant will lead the core formation," Diana announced, silencing the immediate protests from Earth Command. "We'll need our 2 most powerful remaining dreadnoughts to complete it. Humanity and the Centauri working together, it's fitting that our first alliance be forged in fire." As the meeting ended, Diana looked out at Jupiter's swirling storms. Somewhere out there, the Wraith Armada approached, unaware that their predicted harvest had become something else entirely. A last stand that would echo across the stars. Mars glowed red against the black of space as the combined human-Centauri fleet took their positions. The Wraith Armada had crossed the asteroid belt, their massive ships consuming everything in their path. Behind them, Jupiter's largest moon, Europa, was missing a quarter of its mass, its oceans exposed to the void. Aboard the Valiant, Captain Diana Blackwood completed her final log entry. "If you're hearing this, we succeeded. If not, then learn from our mistakes. Never stop pushing the boundaries of what's possible. That's humanity's greatest strength." "Fleet reports ready," Raj announced from his station, now augmented with crystalline Centauri interfaces. "All ships showing green on quantum field generators." Dr. Vikram Patel's voice came through from Earth, where he and Priya coordinated with Centauri scientists. "Captain, the quantum resonance calculations are locked in. Once you initiate the sequence, you'll have approximately 40 seconds before the field collapse." "Understood," Diana replied, knowing those 40 seconds would feel like an eternity for the crews of the core ships. She opened a channel to the fleet. "All vessels, this is Captain Blackwood. I won't lie to you, what we're attempting has never been done before. The soldiers at the core of our formation, human and Centauri alike, have volunteered knowing they won't survive the initial quantum cascade." She paused, looking at her crew, faces she had known for years, each one ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. "But our deaths will mean something. Today, we prove that humanity isn't just another harvest for these cosmic locusts. Today, we show them what happens when you back Earth into a corner." Navigator Kyrian's voice joined hers on the fleet-wide channel. "The Centauri remember our fallen worlds, our lost billions. We have run for too long. Here, alongside our human allies, we make our stand." The Wraith Armada appeared at the edge of Mars' orbit, their black ships distorting space around them. They moved with the same terrible purpose that had marked their advance through the solar system, seemingly unfazed by the fleet arrayed against them. "They're launching harvesters," Helena called out. Smaller ships emerged from the Wraith vessels, their purpose clear, to begin consuming Mars itself. "Not this time," Diana growled. "All ships, battle formation Omega, core vessels, prepare for quantum field activation." The Valiant moved into position, flanked by the dreadnoughts Thunder Child and Artemis. Around them, human and Centauri ships formed an intricate geometric pattern that would focus and amplify the quantum disruption field. "Enemy vessels entering optimal range," Raj reported, his voice steady despite knowing what came next. "Field generators at full power." Diana took one last look at her crew. "It has been my highest honor to serve with you all. For Earth, for all sentient life initiate quantum cascade. The space between the fleets lit up with impossible colors as the quantum generators activated. The Valiant's hull groaned as reality itself began to warp around them. On the view screen, the nearest Wraith ships showed their first sign of hesitation, their perfect formation wavering. "Field intensity at 60%, Rod shouted over the sound of straining metal. "Hull integrity failing." "Maintain position," Diana ordered, watching as the quantum disruption spread like a wave toward the Wraith fleet. "Redirect all power to the generators." Through the chaos, Navigator Kyrion's voice crackled. "The pattern holds. Their quantum shifting is destabilizing." The first Wraith ship twisted in space, its matter forcibly dragged back into normal space-time. The ship's perfect black surface cracked, revealing a core of stolen mass from countless worlds. More vessels followed, their invulnerable armor becoming their prison as the quantum disruption field stripped away their phase-shifting ability. "Field collapse in 10 seconds, Priya's voice came through, thick with emotion. "Captain, Diana, thank you." Diana smiled, even as warning lights blazed across her bridge. "Give them hell for us, Doctor, Raj, Helena, everyone. It's been an honor." The Valiant's hull began to disintegrate at the quantum level, its matter torn apart by the very forces it was channeling. Diana's last sight was of the Wraith Armada's ships breaking apart, their impossible technology undone by the combined will of two species fighting for survival. The quantum cascade reached critical mass. For a moment, Mars' orbit lit up brighter than the sun as the core ships sacrificed themselves to create a quantum shockwave that rippled through the Wraith fleet. Where their unstoppable armada had been, now drifted only debris, their matter permanently locked in normal space-time. From the Himalayan facility, Dr. Patel watched through tears as the sensors showed the complete destruction of the core ships. But their sacrifice had worked. The remaining Wraith vessels, cut off from their phase-shifting technology, found themselves facing the combined weapons of the human Centauri fleet. Without their invulnerability, they proved surprisingly fragile. As the battle turned to its final phase, Priya gripped Vikram's hand. "They did it. They actually did it." "No," he corrected softly, watching as human and Centauri ships methodically eliminated the remaining threat. "We did it, all of us together, and we'll make sure they're remembered. Diana, Raj, all of them, they'll be remembered as long as humanity reaches for the stars." 1 year later, the memorial garden outside the new Earth-Centauri Alliance headquarters in Geneva stretched for kilometers. Crystal trees from the Centauri homeworld growing alongside Earth's oak and cherry blossoms. At its center, a quantum-locked monument displayed the names of those who had sacrificed themselves in the Battle of Mars, their memory preserved in a state of perpetual existence between moments. Dr. Vikram Patel stood before the monument, watching as the names of the Valiant's crew shifted and danced in the quantum field. Captain Diana Blackwood's name glowed brightest of all, a tribute to the leader who had turned humanity's darkest hour into its greatest triumph. "The quantum resonance is holding perfectly," said a familiar crystalline voice. Chief Engineer Zara approached, her form now more comfortable among humans after a year of close collaboration. "Like them, it exists in all possible moments at once, neither fully here nor gone." Vikram nodded, remembering that final transmission from the Valiant. Diana would have appreciated the symbolism, life finding a way to continue, even in the face of impossible odds. The Earth-Centauri Alliance had transformed the solar system. Humanity's quantum field technology, combined with Centauri crystal tech, had revolutionized space travel. The first joint colony ships were already heading toward the stars, carrying the seeds of both civilizations to new worlds. "Ambassador Kyrion's ship returns from the Pleiades today," Priya announced, joining them at the monument. She now served as Earth's chief scientific liaison to the Centauri. "They've found 3 more refugee species fleeing from other harvester fleets." The revelation that the Wraith, or Harvesters, were just one of many such fleets terrorizing the galaxy had sobered Earth's victory celebrations. But it had also strengthened the Alliance's resolve. Never again would advanced species prey upon developing civilizations. The combined knowledge of humanity and the Centauri had created something unprecedented, a force for protection rather than destruction. In orbit, the first of the new Guardian-class vessels prepared for its maiden voyage. Built using the principles discovered during the desperate battle at Mars, these ships incorporated both human ingenuity and Centauri wisdom. They could track harvester fleets through quantum space and prevent them from phasing into normal space-time, protecting vulnerable worlds before they even knew they were in danger. Director Chen approved the expansion of the Academy, Vikram said, watching a group of human and Centauri children to the memorial garden. Next year's class will include students from 5 different species, all of them learning from each other, building on what we started here. The quantum technology that had saved Earth had evolved far beyond its military origins. Medical applications allowed doctors to heal at the cellular level. Agricultural breakthroughs promised an end to global hunger. The synthesis of human determination and Centauri experience had created possibilities neither species had imagined alone. "They're calling it the Renaissance era," Priya mused, touching the monument gently. "But I prefer to think of it as the awakening. Humanity finally understanding its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors." A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Above the monument, a holographic display showed a massive harvester fleet, recently discovered at the edge of the Orion Arm. But unlike a year ago, this sight brought determination rather than dread. The combined Earth-Centauri fleet was already moving to intercept, carrying the legacy of the valiant sacrifice and the promise of protection for species yet unknown. "The harvesters thought they found an easy target in Earth," Zara observed, her crystalline features catching the sunlight. "Instead, they found the one species stubborn enough to unite the galaxy against them." As if in response, the quantum field around the monument pulsed, the names of the fallen shimmering with renewed energy. Their sacrifice had not just saved Earth, it had changed the course of galactic history. Humanity had proven itself not just through its ability to fight, but through its capacity to unite, to innovate, and to protect. In the garden, a human child and a young Centauri watched in wonder as their crystalline and organic plants grew together, creating patterns neither species could have created alone. Above them, the stars waited, no longer a source of terror but a promise of adventures to come. The legacy of the Battle of Mars lived on, not in weapons or wars, but in the understanding that the greatest victories come not from standing alone, but from standing together. As the sun set over Geneva, the quantum monument continued its eternal dance, preserving forever the moment when humanity proved that its greatest strength lay not in its ability to destroy, but in its power to unite, protect, and build a future worthy of those who had sacrificed everything to make it possible.